You told me that I'd be vegan a few years ago, I would have laughed in your face. Not even kidding. Because I remember I had a vegetarian friend at university, and even then I didn't fully understand it or didn't even really look into it that much. And I was just carried on with my meat eating ways. And then all of a sudden I was vegan, and it's like, okay. Hi, my name is Tomi Makanjola, and I run the Vegan Nigerian blog. I currently live in London, but I was born and raised in Nigeria. I work at Raw at Last Week West in Bayswater, London, a vegan restaurant. I became vegan in 2012/13, and I was in France at the time, and it was just a sudden change. So before then, I was a meat eater, and I ate absolutely everything. And then I kind of made a switch, and within a week I was vegan. When I first went vegan, actually, one of my first thoughts was, gosh, what am I going to eat? Because I think that's a question everyone asks me. Like, even now, when they find out I'm vegan, they're like, oh, what do you eat? But then you start to you break it down, you say, okay, I can eat all plants. So that includes rice and beans and, lentils, and I can eat sweet potatoes and yams and plantain, and, the list is endless. So I think once you kind of get over the idea that you have nothing to eat and you start seeing the whole list of things that you can eat, then it becomes kind of less daunting, and you just you fall into it, you adapt, and it's no longer difficult. It's just your lifestyle and just the way the way it is, really. When I learned about the meat, I also learned about the dairy industry, about the egg industry, and how all of that was linked, and how it would be a little bit strange to kind of go the step of vegetarian but then ignore the other issues as well. So I was exposed to all of it at once, and so I think I'm kind of the all or nothing kind of person, and I just thought, that's it. Just make the full switch, don't even bother transitioning. Biggest obstacle was definitely kind of explaining it to other people and getting them to, I guess, understand my perspective and why I was making such a radical change. I remember a lot of people telling me that, oh, this is just a phase and you're going to get over it. If you've been raised eating meat and told that it's been okay to eat meat for the whole of your life, and then someone kind of comes along and tells you the opposite, it's a little bit jarring, and you find ways to kind of justify the way you've always been living. You find extremists in all movements. In veganism, you have the extremists. In feminism, you have the extremists. But the whole point is that, the main values, the core of those movements, that's what you should focus on, not on the extreme sides of it. The great thing is that my blog has been a catalyst to kind of exposing me to other Nigerian vegans. So I get people who come across my blog and they email me and they say, oh, I've been vegan for 10 years or 5 years. And I'm genuinely surprised, wow. So writing is probably my first love. Even before cooking, before all of that, I was writing. And so as a kid, I remember my dad brought home our first family computer, and it had, was it called Microsoft Word then? Maybe, maybe not. But I just started, typing all my stories, and he would print them out for me. And I think as a kid, I was always surrounded by books. So I loved reading, and that just carried on through my teen years. And I definitely kind of dropped the writing a little bit at that stage, and it wasn't until I got to university and I was reading more and obviously writing more for my essays that I picked it up again and rediscovered my love for the word. And now I definitely want to kind of keep going with it and see where it goes. So I like to write fiction, I like to write poetry. I just find it's such a great way to express yourself. All the stories and all the ideas you want to kind of bring out into the world. I think writing is one of the best ways to do it. I am not a big planner. I like to kind of see where life takes me. A year ago, if you told me that I'd be a vegan chef right now, I'd be like, what are you talking about? So I like life to be surprising in that way, and I like to seize opportunities as they come along. Of course, I do have sort of dreams and goals and certain things that I would like to achieve over the next few years. So my biggest dream, of course, is to one day maybe open a restaurant, and so I want to start taking steps towards that. Typically, in most African families and African settings, the idea of going the non-traditional route in terms of your career can be quite challenging. I know I had it quite easy because my parents kind of have always encouraged us to go after what we wanted, but you don't see many people kind of doing interesting, unusual, creative things in that sense. You have people either wanting to be lawyers or, engineers, and there's a pressure in the society to be kind of boxed into that, sort of area career-wise. And then I knew that putting myself in that setting would not only make me extremely sad, but it would possibly also just suck the creativity from me. And that's the one thing that I value so much in life. It's just being able to express your creativity. It was scary at some points, and you do have your moments of self-doubt where you think, oh, should I just do the normal thing and just go get a desk 9-to-5 job? And then there are moments when great things happen with what you're doing and you feel as though you're on the right path. Ever since I became vegan, I've made a lot of vegan friends, and I just think about how I'd never met these people if I'd never even decided to be vegan.
Really important that the animals have a good life too.
Despite being vegetarian. But yeah, veganism was really good for me.